Monday Night Wars podcast.
Hello and welcome to a somber episode of the Monday Night Wars. It is August 4th, 1997. But also, Hulkamania is dead.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, did you not know that that's where I was going with this?
No, I thought you were making a completely different joke.
No, this is serious, man. Hulk Hogan is dead. He died last week. Actually, before before our last week episode went live, or this, yeah. But we'd already recorded it, so we couldn't really talk about it. And so I think we got to start with, talking about the Hulkster's important but complicated history, right?
I love that phrasing. Important but complicated. It's not complicated even remotely.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think, again, we like to separate the person from the wrestler.
Right.
And on the personal side, he's got a lot of bad stuff. Although I will say, I've been hearing, nice things he did for people and stuff. People are coming out of the woodwork to tell about all the nice things he did for people and all those sorts of things. So I don't know. I do know he said some he said some very racist things, which is, it's a bit of a problem, I feel.
I mean, he's racist. Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Especially, I recently reread his comments about Brooke dating a black guy, which seems to kind of paint it in a pretty clear picture.
Yes.
His opinions on black people. Did not want her dating a black guy, although he used a different word.
Yes.
And
if she was going to, at least make sure he was rich.
Yes, lovely. But, I think he is incredibly important to wrestling. Although even then, I guess that's also where I think it gets a little complicated. That's where I think it's complicated, right? Because he is incredibly important to wrestling. He, in many ways, put wrestling on the map. He's the household name. If people know a wrestler, if you ask someone who doesn't watch wrestling, knows nothing about wrestling, to name a wrestler, I would say 9 times out of 10 it's going to be Hulk Hogan.
Fair.
That's who people know. When I tell people I do this podcast with you, they go, "Oh, like Hulk Hogan?" Like,
yeah,
they know who he is. So, I mean, he definitely put wrestling on the map. The issue is, right, that he overstayed his welcome in many ways, put a lot of kept a lot of wrestlers down, that, stifled careers, kept a lot of wrestlers down to keep himself on top. That's the reason I say all this is because this is going to become extremely evident in the next several months. This
years, in the next years, it's going to be a continuing thing. Yeah.
Because in many ways, I feel like Hulk Hogan kind of built WCW. Like his heel turn, him joining the NWO, was really kind of the TNT, pun intended, because that's the network they're on. That kind of put WCW into the stratosphere, right? Hogan going heel was earth shattering,
right?
And I think in many ways contributed to WCW's just success over this time. But also, he is the cause of their untimely demise because he won't give it up.
Right.
Like, he knows he built the place, but he doesn't know when it's time to sell it to a nice young family so they can grow their family in it. If this was a house. I'm using a metaphor here.
Yeah.
Being very profound.
Yeah.
But anyways, you, a huge Hulk Hogan hater, tell us how you feel.
Okay. So let's start with
See, I'm trying to give a more nuanced perspective because I know you about to blow the doors off, and I know so
well,
I'm
let's
trying to
start with
just
the fair. Let's start with the fair, right?
okay.
Do you know this about me? Hulk Hogan was my intro into wrestling in a slight way. I've told the story, I think, in the very first episode of the podcast. My uncle was a huge wrestling fan. I think he still is. I don't know. And he had the SmackDown games. We would play those at his house, and that was my intro to wrestling. Now, my parents hated wrestling. They were super, super against it. And the way in for me was I found out that they loved Hulk Hogan because they knew 80s Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, all that stuff, right? And so this is now the 90s. This is now heel turn Hulk Hogan where we're at. And so my way in, as I got a little bit older and I was able to kind of start forcing the issue, was if Hulk Hogan by this point had now rejoined WWE, he was doing his Hulk Still Rules run, which for my money is like one of the most important moments in my life. Like I loved Hulk Hogan. If he was on TV, I could get away with watching wrestling. I could say, well, Hulk Hogan's gonna be on tonight, and they would let me do it for that. So I started a huge Hulkamaniac. Let's be clear on that. I will never take that away. For a long time, I had a very extensive Hulk Hogan action figure collection and just memorabilia collection. And it took, really a lot for me. And I will shamefully say this is post Gawker to be like, I need to sell these off. Like it just got so evident that it was like morally I can't stand behind this man. Okay. So I just need to be clear. There was a lot of love for Hulk Hogan. So when you throw a term out like hater, it's not just. It's not. He's trying to do it to ruffle my feathers. I know
I
exactly what
I'm
Scott's
just saying I'm just saying hater mania running wild. But go ahead. But
doing.
go ahead.
Okay, so you said complicated earlier, and that's a term that's genuinely been pissing me off in the last week plus of people saying he's got a complicated legacy. He doesn't. It's not complicated at all. It's actually very black and white, although for him it's white and white. Anyways, it's
My
very
God.
obvious. It's very obvious. We can
You
separate.
so I
Hold on. Let me
so you
continue
would
on
say
this.
even okay.
You can separate the art and the man 100%. I will not disagree with that even remotely, right? If we're talking about the man, he's frankly not a good person. He's super racist, misogynistic, homophobic, just horrible to people that he felt were beneath him, and constantly mooching off of others' success to keep himself relevant. That's a reality from a personal standpoint. Now, if we go to the art, you and I have said a number of times that we feel that Eric Bischoff is a net positive for wrestling, makes a lot of mistakes in his career, but we think he's a net positive. I will say Hulk Hogan is a net negative for wrestling.
Okay.
So Hulk Hogan, everyone likes to say, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, we would never have wrestling the way we have it. That's wrong. Actually, that's 100% wrong. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, we would never have wrestling the way that we have it today. Let's just be real clear about that. Hulk Hogan just happened to be the vessel that he chose. It could have been anyone. It could have been Macho Man. He could have fought hard to get Ric Flair. He could have done it with Piper. There are so many people that were just as charismatic, if not more so, that he could have done this with. Vince McMahon was a revolutionary for his time. Hulk Hogan was the absolute this just kind of fits, and I don't have to do a whole lot. And this guy wants money, and I'm going to make him rich, and we're going to take off. Vince McMahon did that. That's not a Hulk Hogan thing. So Hulk Hogan has this really good 80s run where I don't think it's really disputable that it is an iconic run. A lot of good things happen in it. It's really 1990 where it starts to fall off the rails. By this point, Hulk Hogan is starting to age out of the role. We see a lot of wrestlers in the 90s that Vince McMahon decides are no longer relevant because it's the 90s. Mach gets put into a commentary role, which I think was a huge mistake. Kurt Hennig gets thrown into a manager role, which I think was a huge mistake. I think Vince McMahon is making mistakes at this point. And Hulk Hogan is seeing the writing on the wall. He is starting to get moved over. The first big piece that is supposed to happen, and this is true, is that Hulk Hogan is supposed to make Bret Hart. That's what he's supposed to do. Bret Hart is the new person that is going to move the generation forward. And Hulk Hogan says,
The
that
new
don't work.
generation?
Yes, that don't work for me, brother. And actively holds Bret Hart down. That's the first major case. I'm sure there had been some before. Another notable one, Undertaker. Fakes an injury with Undertaker. We had a whole lengthy conversation about Austin's injury last night on SummerSlam. Genuinely faked an injury with Undertaker where he said that Undertaker injured his neck on a tombstone. And if you watch the replay of that, he is 8 inches above the mat. He never even makes contact with it. But he used it to make sure that Undertaker's title run got shut down and then he would become champion again. He was politicking. He was already doing it at this time. You fast forward, by this point, Vince McMahon's kind of tired of it and has made the decision that he's going to basically move on regardless. So Hulk Hogan, he leaves wrestling. He leaves wrestling for a minute, and Eric Bischoff goes, it's the biggest name in wrestling, which it is. Let's be fair, it is. I can bring him to WCW. And then Eric Bischoff does one of the dumbest mistakes anybody could do. He gives him a lot of money, which is okay, but he also gives him creative control. And that is what starts to ruin WCW. At first, it launches WCW. They got a big name. Then we have Nitro. Nitro starts. And the first few months of Nitro are really good. And then it becomes really complacent. And we start to see that Nitro isn't winning every single week. We've talked about this on this podcast. You can go back to the beginning. Then we have finally Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And Eric Bischoff uses the template he used with Hulk Hogan on these individuals. These two come in. We start having the Outsiders thing. It becomes the NWO. And as you said earlier, Hulk Hogan turns heel. It's a massive event. And now WCW is riding high for the end of 1996 and through most of 1997. At the very end of 1997 is when the wheels start to fall off, but it really won't actually be until April that it actually does. But it gets set in motion in December. During this run, we have watched Hulk Hogan very clearly politic himself to be and use his creative control to maintain himself as champ. In fact, we're going to see it tonight. We're going to see it tonight where something happens and then it kind of immediately gets reversed because it's very much Hulk Hogan. We're going to see a very egregious one in December, a really bad one that we will talk about in length. It's at Starrcade. And that becomes the biggest, worst moment in WCW history. Hulk Hogan, I don't think he's the only person to blame with the fall of WCW, but he is a major person to blame. You fast forward and finally WCW fails. He comes to WWE, him, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and we have this amazing moment. And I'm trying to give as much props as I can to Hulk Hogan throughout this conversation. We have this amazing moment where we have WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan is still part of the NWO. They've brought back the NWO, but just these three guys. He goes against The Rock in what is, to me, one of the greatest matches in the history of ever. I love this match. I watch this match to this day. It gives me chills. They're in I believe, I don't know if it's Montreal, but they're in Canada. They're for sure. Toronto, I believe is where they're at. They're in Toronto. And the crowd, who has a heel Hulk Hogan in front of them, turns on The Rock and they just want to see Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. That's what they want to see. And they cheer the hell out of him. And we end up having a phenomenal back and forth. I think it's the best match Hulk Hogan's ever had in his career. The Rock really carries him through it. It is, if you were to rate it on stars, which I hate that rating, we do grade ratings. It's an A+ match across the board. Has everything you need. Storytelling, the right guy wins, all that stuff. And you get this turn for Hulk Hogan. Now, all of a sudden, the fans want Hulkamania back. Vince McMahon, smart enough to know when there's cash, does it. Gets Hulkamania back. Hulk Hogan gets one run as the champion again. This time he goes against Triple H and beats him. And then he has to drop a title like a month or two later to Undertaker. This is just a real quick last run. And even in this match, old Hulk Hogan sandbags Undertaker because he doesn't want to lose. And that is the history of Hulk Hogan. He is somebody who intentionally, and there's so many reports of it, intentionally held people down. He wanted it to be about him. And the crazy thing is, you look at his peers, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, Roddy Piper. There's so many examples of people at the same time who could win or lose, and it didn't matter because it made the other person a huge star, and in turn would make them a huge star. There are so many times that Hulk Hogan could have lost, and his momentum would have stayed because he was the name, as you said, a number of times. But instead, it was important for him to get the W. Cody Rhodes recently made a joke about Hogan must pose. It's not a joke. This was pre Hogan's death, to be clear. It's not a joke. It's the reality. Hogan was about Hogan. Damn everybody else, damn every company, it doesn't matter. It's about me. He's a net negative for wrestling. His impact in the 80s was absolutely as seismic as possible, and he ruined every single moment of it with the 90s through the 2000s. And then you look at what he did at TNA and really helped to kill TNA. And I don't know how TNA exists now because they have they have rejuvenated themselves, and they're a fun program again. But they should have died. They were so bad. They not only couldn't get a TV deal, they were doing so poorly at live events. They were getting like tens of people to come. That's how bad it got because of Hulk Hogan. He is a net negative for wrestling.
So there you have it, an important but complicated legacy. I just, I gave what I thought was a real nuanced take, and then you just came in and shit all over everything I said, and I won't stand for it. I won't stand for it. Send us letters, everybody. Tell us if I'm right or Joseph's right, and if you think Joseph's right, don't send the letter. Anyways, let let's get into it. Oh, I guess I should mention because I already mentioned on the Patreon
Mhm.
why I'm in this different room and I sound different. But I'm at my parents' house because I'm in town for my 20th high school reunion because I'm an old man.
Mhm.
And so I'm wearing I've got a headset on, so that's why I sound a little different. But this is an esports headset, so it's got to be good, right? And this is my dad's drinking room, which is why I can't. God, I always forget how to tilt my head the right way. So that's why it's got all the alcohol posters and stuff on the wall. This is his drinking room. It's just his den, but that's the only place a man can put up his drinking posters. So that's why he does it. Anyways, let's get on with it because it is August 4th, 1997. We're at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan with WCW Nitro. This is their 100th episode, our 101st episode because we had that little one before it, giving a little history. But this is Nitro's 100th episode, and it starts off with a bang. It starts off with Michael Buffer, because
Mhm.
why?
Yep.
Why are you paying this guy like $250,000 to start a Nitro? You got the Nitro girls with Kimberly off tempo, and you've got the WCW World Champion Hollywood Hulk Hogan, an important yet complicated individual, and Eric Bischoff to start the show. So why don't you tell me about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff giving us some promo time?
So interesting thing. So I kind of figured we were going to talk about the Hogan stuff. So a lot of this night are going to be very brief synopses, especially because and you didn't mention this, because it's their 100th episode, it's a 3-hour program. So we get a lot in this. I think I had
Yeah.
21 segments in this. This is obviously our first one. Bischoff calls Luger dumb. Hogan says the NWO will beat up Luger, and they say more, but none of it's important. I gave it a C.
13 matches, if I'm counting this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Double counted it. It's now science.
Mhm.
Because if you can replicate it, it's science. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
3 times it's science, which is me really, really simplifying the scientific method, but whatever. This is science. Speaking of science, we've got some real scientists in the ring here for our opening match. Kurt Hennig versus Mortis. And I mean, to be fair, they're both
Yeah.
both good. I mean, it's Chris Canyon and Kurt Hennig, so that was a joke, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I don't have times on this, so I don't know.
We're at the point where they're beginning to give up on Glacier, Mortis, and Wrath. We're not 100% there, but Mortis gets jobbed out. This is a squash match, and Hennig wins easily with the Hennigplex. It gets a C.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. After that, we got some people ripping up a Monday Night Raw sign. Totally not plants. Totally brought that sign to rip it up in front of the camera. And then we get a video package talking about Sting's journey from being Surfer Sting to Crow Sting. And again, this promo, the whole Sting arc to me, as you know, as I complain about regularly, is when you really think about this, I love Crow Sting. I love what comes of it. But the whole storyline getting to it is stupid. And this promo goes to the point. He's doing this because he thinks Lex betrayed him. You could have solved this in a phone call. Did Lex not call him and just like, "Hey, Sting, I wanna clarify some things," and, we wouldn't have this problem, but, and then, they're talking about how he's become Crow because WCW doesn't trust him,
Mhm.
but now he's focused on Hogan, and he's on Team WCW. Well, then what's the issue? What's the problem here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Tell me. Tell me what you think.
I got nothing on this. There's gonna be quite a few vignettes tonight. They are trying to fill up 3 hours, and they don't know how.
The Sting storyline to me is crazy. I think it makes so much more sense if Lex had joined the NWO. Because
Yeah, I agree.
Lex is Sting's boy.
Mhm.
They're in real life great friends. Sting's who brought Lex to WCW, and then for him to turn on Sting, the franchise, the face of WCW, and join the evil NWO, the WWF guys that are invading, that's a betrayal. That's a
Yeah,
betrayal that justifies this response. But
right.
the Lex did not betray him, and WCW guys don't trust him, so he's like, "I'm gonna take my toys and go home, but I'm also going to become the force for good against the
Yeah.
guy for the guys who don't trust me, against the guys who would really like me on their team." I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyways, we got Ciao Guerrero Jr. and Hector Guerrero versus Dean Malenko and Jeff Jarrett. And you notice, Joseph, I flipped that. So all your picture stuff's all messed up now because you say I usually put the winners first, but I didn't. In your face, boy. Tell me.
Actually, that puts my pictures in order. Anyways, this is a cool idea for a match, honestly, but we know who will win. This one is Malenko wins by locking in the Texas Cloverleaf on Hector Guerrero. It gets a C. It's a very decent match, but like you said, one of 13 matches. We got a lot coming.
Well, let's keep going because we got Mean Gene trying to have a conversation with Raven.
Mhm.
I'll just stop there because, as you said, we don't got a ton of time, and it's a typical Raven promo. Stevie tries to talk, Stevie gets beat up. That's it. Anything more?
The only difference in this one is after he pushes him, Stevie gets back up into his face and tells him that he will no longer take abuse from Raven after Raven swings again and he blocks it. And when he says this, Raven sneers at him and walks away. So we at least get some sort of nuance here. We got kind of a wrinkle of a
Mhm.
storyline. I'm still giving it a C, and we move on.
That's what you love to see. After that, what you also love to see is the Giant just smash some jobbers. We got Joey Maggs, Lenny Lane, and Scott D'Amore in a 3-on-1 handicap match. Good luck, guys. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Giant squashes the three men, and then we hear, "Ooh, yeah!" And then Mach continues, "Brother, brother, 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 brother! A giant's out of control. It's cool for me because at Sturgis, that means that the madness is going to be in control. Staple it right there, because you don't want none of this right here. And then Giant charges him as we cut to commercial. I like the Mach bit. The other stuff I don't really care about. Get to see.
Selling pay-per-views, man. He's doing his job. Up in that buy rate. Then we get a video package of Lex. It's Lex because we got to fill time. What did you make? What did you make of Flexi Lexi here?
We're trying to make up time. That's what I think of it.
There you go. We got Flexi Lexi flexing. It really serves no purpose. It's weird. To fill time. But other than that, it's like, why? Public Enemy versus High Voltage messed you up again. Tell me about this match.
You did it. I'm still in order. What looks like a squash match turns the tables when Rocco Rock throws himself through one. High Voltage doesn't turn this into a win somehow, and Johnny Grunge rolls up one of them, and then High Voltage attack him after they lose. What? Gets D.
There you go. Then we get one of the highlights of the night for me.
Okay.
And you're thinking Alex Wright versus Scotty Riggs? No! The Nitro Girls with newest Nitro Girl, Alex Wright. They're out there dancing. Alex Wright interrupts them and starts dancing with them.
Uh-huh.
And I like it. They should have done more with this. I think it was good. But that does lead us to our next match, which is the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, Alex Wright, versus Scotty Riggs. And Scotty Riggs, poor Scotty Riggs.
Yeah.
This guy's got nothing going for him. He's at a really low point in his life. Good thing there is a faction that deals with the dregs of society. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Between the dancing and this match, Gene interviews Alex Wright, who speaks in German. Then Gene says, "Knock off the Wiener Schnitzel here, pal. We talk English." If you don't know, Wiener Schnitzel is a hot dog joint here in America. Ronnie, they sell chili dogs. They're trashy, but also kind of great. Anyways,
I love it.
Yes, he tells Chris Jericho that he will embarrass him again at Road Wild and calls himself the greatest wrestler. Then we get the match. Wright easily beats Riggs with a missile dropkick. It's fine. Gets a C.
There you have it. We got our number 2. We're just blowing through this, ladies and gentlemen. And Mean Gene got an interview with Lex because the promo simply wasn't enough. Did you mention in the Hollywood Hogan promo that Hogan, I can't even remember at this point, Hogan is supposed to wrestle Lex Luger tonight. Apparently, it was supposed to be at the pay-per-view that he and Lex were going to go at it for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. But the powers that be have moved it to tonight, and Hogan's very upset about this. So Gene is talking to Lex because he wants to know how Lex feels about facing Hogan tonight.
Uh-huh.
And Lex fired up, man. Tell me.
He is. Luger says he's been focusing on Sturgis, but opportunity knocks tonight. And that this is his defining moment. And that he will slap around Hogan and the NWO. It's a simple concept of a promo, but Lex delivers this with conviction. I'm giving this one a B.
There you go. Lex is back. But that also has nothing to do with our next match.
Yeah.
Because it's Six versus Chris Benoit. And we get ourselves a real barn burner here at the end, don't we, Joseph?
We do. Probably the only genuinely competitive match that we've seen thus far. Both these men have mutually adjacent rivalry with Six and Flair at the center. Then Jeff Jarrett, who will face Benoit at Sturgis, interferes and he attacks him. And then Mongo interferes and helps out. And then Dean joins the fray and we head to commercial. It gets a C+.
Yeah, we've got quite a brawl at the end of it, right? We've got Benoit and Mongo and Jarrett and Malenko. They're just wailing on each other. Crowd likes it, though.
Yep.
But not as much as they like those Nitro Girls who are back. and Kimberly is still off. She does get better over time, though, as we've noticed. I
Yes.
feel.
She's still off,
Or
but
maybe
it's
they
like,
just figure out how to. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, is she off, or has she gotten better, or do they just figure out how to use her better? That's the question that we'll have to answer. Or the fans want to know.
Absolutely.
Anyways, because we're scraping the barrel here for talent to fill this card. We've got Booker T versus Vincent.
Yes.
And Vincent, there's this I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but is this where Vincent starts doing this weird thing with the Harlem Heat, doesn't he? Where they're kind of like homies kind of thing. You remember he does something like that? We're like, is this a
No,
black thing?
I think that was before this, where he was trying to be like, "Oh, I see, I helped you guys win," but it's like, doesn't matter. Look, here's what happens here. Booker T is slowly transitioning into his solo career. Stevie Ray will slow down
Yes.
to the end of this year and eventually take off quite a few months in the beginning of 1998. Booker T wins this in like 2 seconds, and then Harlem Heat beat up Vincent. It's a C.
Yeah. But, great buildup. Like I said, as I rightfully noted, there was some buildup here, kind of, I
Yeah.
guess, because there was the Vincent helping Harlem Heat for some reason, and we couldn't figure out why. And we were thinking, like, is Eric taking a page out of Vince's book and saying, you got a Nation of Domination, I can have one too? Because that's kind of where I felt like it was going before they kind of dropped the whole thing. But thank God we've had the blow-off match we needed between those guys.
Absolutely.
And we'll never have to talk about that again. But we do have to talk with Diamond Dallas Page.
We do.
Because he being interviewed by Mean Gene, and he's gonna be wrestling Ric Flair later on tonight. And I don't know why. Because you need to fill the card? Tell me.
DDP says most people think he's conceited, but he thinks lately people realize he is actually convinced and that he busts his butt and gives 120%. He says Flair does this too, and they seem to have no issue. But since he courted Kurt Hennig, he has to beat Flair, and so he'll do so. He tells Flair, "You may have my respect, but I have your number." Bang! And it's great. I actually really love this
Love
promo
it.
from DDP. It gets an A+ from me. That's the storyline here. Flair keeps trying to be with Kurt Hennig, who keeps beating up DDP, and he's like, "The heck, man? Like, I thought we were boys." And we move on.
Love it. What an angle. Can't wait for that match, which is not this match. Because this match is Wrath and Barbarian. Tell me. We're breaking up our tag teams. We're scraping the barrel. Now we're breaking up our tag teams to just get people in matches.
Wrath wins fairly easily, and then Meng comes out and stares down Wrath. So maybe we aren't done with this. This is the rivalry we all wanted. Vanderbeek pulls Wrath away, and this gets D for me.
Then we get an interview with Mean Gene and the Steiners now. Because we're going to, we faulted Nitro for never having any storylines, right? They're always just like match, because they feel like they got to cram so much in. They've got 3 hours, and boy, are we getting storylines. Do you regret that decision?
A little bit.
I feel like we are massive hypocrites because we tell them they just need to tell better stories, and Eric Bischoff's like, well, here you guys go. Here's a bunch of stories, and we're like, I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, we're telling them to tell better stories, not the crap.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you.
So
well, tell me about
Gene
this
interviews
story.
the Steiners, who have Ted DiBiase with him. And Gene asks what we're all thinking. Why are you here? DiBiase says that he had to look at himself and look at the big picture. He lost track of the important things and that he had made some bad choices, but that ends now. He's committed to proving himself to the Steiners and everyone else by managing the Steiners on at Sturgis. The outsiders then come out, and Hall tells him to stop with the sob story. Nash calls DiBiase a dead man. DiBiase tells him that he knows them both and that he will help the Steiners with that knowledge. And Nash cuts him off as we basically head to commercial, which tells me that the NWO behind the scenes are not pleased with DiBiase. This is a very good idea, to be clear. It's a very good idea, and it will amount to nothing. Gets a C.
So there you have it. Tell better stories. They tell a better story here. You're in. You want to know more, and then nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
They got nothing. But what they do got is more Nitro girls who are again dancing. These girls need to make sure they're hydrated because they are dancing a lot tonight. And I just want what's best for them. And they exactly get that water, my friend. Stay hydrated because we're doing a marathon as well. But speaking of marathons, Lee Marshall, Road Report, Denver, Colorado. This man's doing a marathon every week. He's going from city to city. God bless him. Tell me about Lee Marshall in Denver, Colorado, Joseph.
He tells us that the Mile High City is home to the Rockies, the Broncos, the Nuggets, and the Avalanche. There is the Denver Mint Museum, totally a museum also totally dedicated to Buffalo Bill. There used to be a museum dedicated to the Wimping Weasel, but nobody went there. And then Bobby tells Lee to climb Pikes Peak and jump off. The setup of this week's joke was so obvious. I knew what was coming, and I laughed anyways. It gets an A+.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it funny. Because we know it's going to be a dumb weasel joke.
Yeah.
And that's what we love about it. And Bobby always has a great comeback. It's just good.
Mm-hmm.
Our listeners must be like, these guys are the dumbest people on earth. Just the things we like and don't like.
Yeah.
You know, you just buried Hulk Hogan, literally and figuratively. But then you're like, but Lee Marshall was fantastic.
Also, he's getting cremated. Anyways.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Don't go there. We need to move on. We need to move on before you get us sued from beyond the grave. Anyways, we got Conan and Psychosis with Sonny Ono. Because Sonny Ono also owns the Mexican wrestlers. Because, I like the Japanese wrestler angle. I don't understand why he's now managing the Mexican wrestlers, too. Anyways, tell me about it, Joseph.
For some reason, Conan is burying every luchador, and Psychosis is no different. Conan wins very quickly, and then Ray comes down with his crutches, and he gets in the ring, and he's hobbling, and Conan taunts him and kicks out Crutch. Conan goes to grab the crutch that he just kicked out from Ray, and Ray was faking his still being injured, and he clobbers Conan with the other crutch as we head to commercial with Ray standing tall. I actually really love this. I gave this a B.
Here we go, man. You're getting the storylines you want. God bless 3 Hour Nitro. This is a hell of a thing. What move did Conan win with, though? Did you say?
The Tequila Sunrise.
Oh, it's just another Tequila Sunrise. Okay. I've made that joke before, and I will make that joke again. Anyways, match 9. Silver King and Damian 666 versus Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller? What the hell is this? Tell me about it, Joseph.
Another squash sees Miller hit his diving roundhouse for the win. Gets a C, I guess. It's fine. Whatever. We move on.
Okay. After that, we got Eric Bischoff, who's going to join us and tell us more Eric Bischoff stuff. I'm going to leave it to you because I'm tired of Eric Bischoff, bro. Just tell me what Eric Bischoff. I got notes. I wrote notes. I don't care.
Bischoff says he loves the crowd, but there are 3 people he doesn't love: Giant, Larry Zbyszko, and JJ Dillon. Bischoff calls out Dillon. Bischoff tells Dillon that his attorneys will jump on Dillon if he gets attacked by Luger, and then he threatens to beat up Zbyszko and kick him right in between the eyes or something like that. Anyways, Dillon laughs at this and walks away. It's dumb. Gets a D from me.
It's just more of the same. What does J.J. Dillon do? What is his purpose? Because every time
Yeah.
he does something, Eric Bischoff threatens to sue him, and that seems to be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Nitro Girls dancing on the commentary table. And Bobby wants to dance too, and I'm all about it. Keeps better time than Kimberly.
That's true.
Yes. And speaking of Kimberly, we got our promised DDP versus Ric Flair match with Kimberly. Tell me, Joseph, tell me about this banger. Get it?
Hennig comes to
Banger.
the ring very early. We get one of the more fun matches that sees cool spots where DDP locks in the figure four on Ric Flair and small packages Hennig while the ref is distracted. Hennig eventually tries to punch DDP with a foreign object, but DDP blocks it and disarms him. Then he fights both men. He manages to fight them off, and he stands tall as we head to commercial. It gets a B from me.
Well, there you go. And speaking of commercials, we got an Outsider commercial. You want to talk about the Outsider commercial, or should we just keep rolling? It's
No,
the
let's
Outsider.
keep rolling.
Okay. After that, we got, let's see, what do we got? Man, you talk too fast. I didn't even go through my notes here.
It's your boys, dude.
Oh. We got the Villanos.
Yes,
We
we
got Villano 4 and Villano 5 versus Hector Garza and Lizmark Jr. And I tell you, Joseph, if my boys don't win, we riot. So tell
Absolutely.
me,
This
do they
is
win?
I'm getting there. Jesus. This is
Tell me.
a very fun cruiser tag match that sees the Villanos do the switching technique we have begged for months to pick up a small cradle pinfall. I'm giving this a B. I very much enjoyed it.
And you were complaining about 3-Hour Nitro, and you're getting storylines you like, you're getting finishes you like, you're getting everything you want. And what you told me you wanted even more. You said, I want another Mean Gene J.J. Dillon segment that goes nowhere. And boy, let me tell you, you got it. Tell me about this Mean Gene J.J. Dillon interview.
Gene wants to know about Sting. He just tells us that he doesn't know, but he has a contract. This is Dylan. Says he doesn't know, but he has a contract. Sting drops down from the rafters and enters the ring. JJ says he wasn't around when Sting got hurt, so he can't apologize, but he can rebuild the trust going forward. That's actually all true. So there you go. The contract is for Sting to face Kurt Hennig. Sting grabs the contract and rips it and then leaves. The message here is that Hennig is not the person that he wants. I actually like this quite a bit. I'm giving this an A because it's actually storytelling, and it's the right storytelling. Sting is telling Dylan, I don't want Hennig. You know who I want.
Yeah.
And so Dylan has to figure it out. I liked this.
I think this would be this should be an angle that I don't really think they do much more with this, but I like this angle and I think they should do more with it. There's a movie that you've probably seen. It's a Jackie Chan movie, fairly recent. It's a good one called The Foreigner. Have you seen that one?
I know what it is, but I haven't watched it.
Well, the premise is that, you know, he's a Chinese immigrant in the UK. His daughter, he has a daughter, I think it's a daughter, you know, assimilated kind of. And they have kind of a difficult relationship because he's very old school and she's, you know, kind of embraced the culture of the UK and those sorts of things. Anyway, she dies. She dies. It starts. I'm not spoiling this because it happens right away. It's the whole premise of the movie. She dies in a terrorist attack. The Irish terrorists do a terrorist attack and she dies. And he's apparently like like he was like in special forces or something like that. He's got a background that they messed with the wrong dude. And the entire movie is him just like beating the crap out of these Irish terrorist guys trying to find the name of the person who was responsible for killing his daughter. And he just does these things and he just goes, name. Like he blows up this guy's car and the guy gets a phone call and it's just like, name. And it's a great thing. He's doing all these crazy things and just name. And that's what I feel like Sting should be doing, that where it's just like he gets the contract and he just goes Hogan and then leaves. and just like, and there's just like that segment just happens
Yeah.
over and over. Hogan leaves, Anyways, I think it'd be a good angle. They don't really do anything with this, so I mean, I guess they do eventually, but
Yeah.
this
It's coming.
particular
It's coming. Yeah.
segment angle, this kind of angle he's doing here, where I got you a match. No, I don't want that match. Like they don't do anything more with that. But that does bring us to Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Lex Luger for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Tell me, what happens?
The heck is this match?
Oh,
Luger kicks out of a leg drop, then fights off Hall, Nash, and Mach to rack Hogan and win. Luger is literally a superhero right now. And the funny part is he's going to drop the title immediately.
see, you
WCW
ruined my joke.
celebrates in the locker room, and then NWO is throwing a fit in their locker room. I hate this. It gets D from me. Go ahead. Tell me your joke.
You ruined my joke because I was going to say, oh, look at you. Mr. Hogan sucks because he won't put it over any young, good talent. And then he graciously drops the title to Lex Luger for 48 hours. Look at you. Because yeah, Lex wins. This this again, this is the question I have, and I know we're running out of time, but I've got to ask. So they say at the beginning of the show that this was supposed to be at the pay-per-view. This match was supposed to be at the pay-per-view. Was the idea originally that Lex was supposed to go over on Hogan at the pay-per-view, and Hogan said, "No, that's not happening at a pay-per-view. Just do it on a regular Monday night, and then we can fix it in a couple of days." Like,
You know the answer
why?
to that.
Why is it yes? I mean, is that why they did this? But because I mean, why on Monday Night Nitro do you have Lex win the title from Hogan? This is huge. Like,
Yeah.
not knowing what we know now, right? That they're gonna immediately take it from him. This is huge.
Yeah.
Hogan has had the title for God knows how long,
Right.
and Lex beat him with putting him in the torture rack. This is huge. Why on Nitro? Why?
Just Hogan's vanity. I don't know, man. I got nothing for you.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think my theory is correct that he just said like that don't work for me at the pay-per-view, brother? And they're like, well, what about on Nitro? And we'll just fix it in a couple of days.
I mean, yes. It's Hogan not
Yeah.
wanting to do the job when it needs to be done. Yes.
And look how foolish you look after all you said about him. Anyways, let's go over to Raw. Let's see what's going on Raw, which is shorter. So we'll get done with that faster.
No,
They're at
we
the
won't.
Stabler Arena. Oh, we won't?
There's
We're
a
at the
lot.
Stabler Arena. Because it's so good, bro.
Yes,
In
that's exactly why.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And let's talk about it because we just had SummerSlam. A lot happened at SummerSlam. You're going to have to subscribe to our Patreon to find out what happened at SummerSlam. Although we're probably going to have to tell you quite a bit of what happened at SummerSlam because it's very important to what happens tonight on Raw. Anyways, why don't you do you want to just get into it? You want to start us off with everything that happened?
Yeah.
There's a lot that kind of goes on here at the beginning. Tell me.
I'll go through it. I'll go as quick as possible because we are very quickly running out of time. And there is a lot on Raw. When I say a lot, it's not because there's more segments. There's certainly is not. It's because they're all meaningful. Anyways, Jim Ross starts the show with the Hart Foundation. He says that it looked like, and it's pretty clear that Brett tried to provoke Shawn, and details Brett spitting in Shawn's face at the pay-per-view. Shawn then tries to swing the chair at Brett and accidentally hits Taker instead, and that's how Brett wins. Brett then taunts the American crowd and claims as a Canadian that he's smarter than the American wrestlers. He tells WWF to stand by their word and ban HBK from the WWF for his actions. Technically not true because it was only if he attacked Brett or interfered on Brett, which never actually happened. Jim Ross asks about this match against the Patriot that he's going to be having. They announced that at In Your House Ground Zero, Brett will defend his title against the Patriot. So he's asking him about it. Brett says the Patriot beat him last week in a fluke, and he's proud of Bulldog for what he did, and that Owen was screwed in his match. Owen then gets to talk and says that he did a stupid thing by showing compassion to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He calls Austin a crippled freak, which we know upset Austin if you listen to the Patreon. He tells Austin to vacate the belt and give it back to him. JR then introduces us to our new commissioner, Sergeant Slaughter. Actually, our first commissioner, Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter comes out and tells Brett, you aren't the new sheriff in town. I am. He announces that Brett will defend his title at Ground Zero against the Patriot. He tells Bulldog he will face Shamrock again soon. He tells Pillman that he will wear the dress as agreed or he'll be suspended. He tells Owen that he will have a rematch with Austin when the doctor gives his approval. Austin's music hits and he comes out with no neck brace. Stone Cold says so.
Which is
Right.
nuts.
Yeah. Insane that he's doing that. Austin says, go ahead.
I said that muted, and I was like, I said that muted, and I had to unmute myself just so everyone knew that is nuts. The man has a broken neck. Go ahead. I'm sorry. This is so crazy.
Yeah. How quickly he gets physical is crazy too. Austin says, Stone Cold says so right now, Owen Hart. I don't need no doctor's approval. I ain't going to wear this piece of crap they gave me. And he throws the neck brace. The fact that you dumped me on my head last night don't mean a damn thing to me. The fact of the matter was you were too stupid to cover me when you had the chance. The bottom line is you're a loser, Owen Hart. Not because I say you are, but because it runs through your veins because your mom and dad gave that to you and ain't nothing I can do about that. Tonight, I truly will open up a can of whoop ass and show you what Austin 316 means. And that's the bottom line. This whole segment gets an A. The hearts are good. Slaughter's great. Austin's great. We get a lot of storytelling. It is cram-packed with storytelling and everything moves forward.
And you have Sergeant Slaughter, who has done more in 15 minutes than J.J. Dillon has done in his entire time. Like, he's just you're gonna follow your deals. You don't welch on bets.
Yeah.
Love it. Good Sergeant Slaughter. Anyways, after that, we've got Kama Mustafa versus Ken Shamrock, and a little bit of, Farouk tells us that he's going to be in a triple threat match with Savio Vega and Crush. I think it's going to be. Is this a street fight too? He talks about he's from the streets again.
Yeah. They're going to do a street fight.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
These go together, so throw it all together for me.
Farouk says they showed up last night because they mean business. You can take the man off the streets, but you can't take the street out of the man. I'm that man. He says Kama will take care of Shamrock and Ahmed later on will take care of Chains. We then get our match of Shamrock and Kama, and Slaughter walks out and kicks out all the excess members of the Nation of Domination. J.J. Dillon would never. Los Boricuas then interfere with this match, and Shamrock wins. I'm going to give it a B because I really did actually like Farouk's bit. The match itself is fine, but I'm going to give the whole thing a B.
We got storytelling, though. I'll give it that. We got storytelling. We also got Brackus, who is coming. But he's not.
Yes.
But he is for right now.
Yeah.
But he's not. Then we got Taka Michinoku, who has arrived, and we love him, versus Brian Christopher. Tell me about this match, which I have times for. I don't have times for WCW anymore. The wiki's like, we don't care about WCW anymore. But let's talk about Raw because we got a 3-minute, 27-second match here. Go.
You stomped over my Brackus joke that I was going to make, which is that I don't know what he says because he's speaking that wiener schnitzel. Anyways,
boom.
Moving on. Love you, Ronnie. Moving over to the Taka Michinoku and Brian Christopher match. Brian Christopher could not be less over. Just zero reaction on anything he does. His cackling echoes through the silent crowd. Taka wins with a roll-up, and then Christopher attacks in post-match. I'm giving this a D.
Yeah, it's wild to me how Brian Christopher is the same character he is when he's with Scotty 2 Hotty. He's like the same guy. But there it works because they're both like not cool. Like it's kind of like
Yeah.
they're like embarrassingly cool. Like they think they're cool, but they're not. And it's just weird how he didn't understand that like he's playing the same character, but as a loser,
Yeah. Well,
and people
because
like it. It's
that's the thing, right? This character thinks he actually is that, and that no one agrees with him. That's the problem.
yeah.
Once they tap into that, and really it's Sky Zuhadi. Sky Zuhadi makes that team, but we'll get there.
Mm, we love us some Scotty 2 Hottie. After that, we've got Sergeant Slaughter. He gives Pillman the dress,
Mhm.
and he is ordered to wear it until he wins a match, or he will be suspended. Sergeant Slaughter laying down the law. The law! Anyways, Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Vader. 12 minutes. 2 minutes, 12 seconds. I'm just rolling, man, because we're running out of time. But if you want to talk about the Brian Pillman thing too, you can.
No, fine. Vin Man talks to Paul Bearer before he comes out, and he says that this match may be Paul Bearer versus China. And Paul Bearer says if that's the case, then he's already won. His experience speaks for itself. Bearer trips Hunter during the match, so China in turn punches Bearer, and the crowd loses their minds. China is over. She is now completely over. She is a spectacle. Both men get countered out, and Hunter and China hightail it, which is probably for the best because an angry Vader is not someone you want to be around. Get to see from me.
After that, we got a Patriot promo, and I love it because he says, I'm gonna tell this promo because I want to tell it from my view here.
Mhm,
Because you got the Patriot, and the Patriot says, you know what, Brett, you are right. There are some things wrong with this country.
mhm.
But unlike Brett, he's willing to fix them. And one of the things he's going to fix is Brett being a whiner about this country, and he's going to whoop his ass. And I like it because Patriot said the problem with this country is whiners like you, Bret Hart, dragging us down. God bless him. USA, USA, USA. Anyways, tell me about this promo if you'd like. And then this also leads into our Sultan versus Patriot match, which is 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Yeah. Weird thing about this promo is that when I say things are wrong with this country, I'm a communist for some reason, according to you.
Well, because the only thing wrong with this country is that Bret Hart's talking smack about it. That's what the Patriot's saying. Because because you are a communist if you're dragging Old Glory down. Anyways, tell us.
Yeah,
Tell us
so
all about it.
we get the Sultan versus Patriot. Patriot wins this squash match with a full Nelson slam. Sultan will never really be a thing. I mean, we'll see him again, but he'll never be a thing again until he finally becomes Rikishi. The Harts come down to the ring, and Slaughter stops all of them but Bret Hart. Bret has no clue, so he's jawing with Patriot, and Bret finally realizes he's alone, and Patriot attacks him to get pulled apart. The match is whatever, but this is a very creative end spot that honestly raised my grade. I was going to give this a C. I'm giving it a B.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to handle that, right? Like Slaughter's playing hardball. He's like, fine, like you guys want to have a conversation? Fine, but it's going to be on equal terms. I kind of like that. He's
Mhm.
tough but fair.
Yeah.
Hour number 2. We get the video again. Anyways, we got Sean, and he wants to talk about what happened last night because
Mhm.
he's got a lot to say. There's been a lot of people blaming him for Undertaker losing the belt last night, and Sean just, he thinks that that's incorrect, doesn't he, Joseph?
Yeah. This is the longest segment of the night, and it is very good. Vin Man asks says that if it hadn't been for him, that Taker would still be champ. And HBK says, "Let me get this straight. You, the Undertaker, Bret the Hitman Hart, and the best that I can tell, all of the fans are dumping this in my lap." Vince tries to speak up, and HBK says, "Shut up." Kind of says it like that. It's kind of very Vince the way he says it. Because you know something? It's just like you. It's just like Bret Hart. And whether anybody likes it or not, it's just like all the fans of the World Wrestling Federation to not take responsibility for themselves and pass the buck on to the Heartbreak Kid. Because everyone knows I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about me. The crowd starts getting mad and he tells the crowd to shut up. I went out there last night for the first time in my career, put on a referee's shirt, and did one hell of a job. I called it right down the middle, right or wrong. And Vince says he did. And Sean says, exactly. Vince then asks, are you in any way in cahoots with Bret Hart? And HBK says, I've always known you were a Nimrod, underrated insult. But now you have convinced me that you are the dumbest son of a bitch that I have ever met in my life. Vince says he doesn't appreciate that. And HBK says, ooh, excuse me while I shudder in my loafers, McMahon. Vince says, well, you might just be shuddering because come September 7th, you will step in this ring with The Undertaker. HBK grabs the mic from Vince, and Vince leaves, and he tells Vince to get his ass out of here. And HBK continues, let me tell everybody what the story is. I am not in any way, shape, or form in cahoots with Bret Hart. It is no secret that Bret Hart doesn't like me or respect me. But one thing is for damn sure, Bret Hart needs me because I am the only man in the WWF that has beat his ass, and that is the truth. And Undertaker, you and I, for as long as we have been in the WWF, have never crossed paths except for now. The crowd starts chanting, Michael sucks, Michael sucks. Undertaker, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels lays down for absolutely no one. Not you, not Bret Hart, not the fans. I don't do it for anybody. Undertaker, the next time you see Shawn Michaels, and now the crowd is booing Shawn hard, he stops and shouts at them, 10 years I've given you, and this is the respect you give me? Each and every one of you can go to hell. Undertaker, the next time you see me, my super kick is going to be 1 foot down your throat. Taker's gong hits and he comes down to the ring and Shawn leaves. He's like, nah, I'm not doing this. Taker says he isn't coming out to say how mad he is or how bad he is because the Undertaker's been doing way too much talking lately. And it's time he gets back to taking souls and making people rest in peace. He tells Shawn that he will have to pay for his crimes. Then Paul Bearer shows up on the Titantron. Bearer says that Taker is the criminal and the murderer in this situation. He says Taker lost a little weight and laughs, referring to the title. He says Kane is ready to come. It will still take 2 months, but Kane is ready to come. And we close the segment. What a segment. We get 4 storylines crossing over perfectly. Taker's promo is short and sweet, but most importantly, this is the Shawn we want. Shawn with an edge. Shawn becoming a degenerate. I gave this whole thing an A+.
Degeneration X! I don't know if anything will come of that. I'm just throwing that out there. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Anyways, we go to Sergeant Slaughter, who he's got word from the doctor that Austin can't wrestle tonight due to a spinal injury. He was supposed to go against Owen. So that leaves our main event. That leaves a gap at the top of our card. I'm excited to see who replaces him. What I'm not excited to see, though, is our next match because it's interesting to say the least. We've got Ahmed Johnson versus Chains, which is a member of the Disciples of the Apocalypse. Tell me about this 2-minute, 11-second match and all of the nonsense that occurs after it.
Real quickly, so I've already done all my screenshots for all this episode, and thank God they labeled who Chains was because I had no idea who it is I was trying to get a screenshot of. Anyways, Slaughter comes out and kicks out the Nation, and then he kicks out the DOA. Ahmed wins this easily. Again, the Bariquas come out, but now so does DOA, who chases them off. Nation goes to do their salute, and they attack Ahmed Johnson and kick him out. We told y'all this was going to be a very short run for him in the Nation. It ends here. I gave the whole thing a C.
And again, I think it's because he has an injury. But
well,
why?
It's also because he's become very unreliable.
Is it because of his injury, or
Well, he already
is
had
there more to this?
the injury already happened. He's healed from
Okay.
the injury. The problem is he's become incredibly unreliable by this point, and he says it's because he didn't want to put burdens on anybody, blah, blah, blah. He will eventually get fired for no showing an event because of his sister is about to die, I believe. And he told no one. And because he didn't want to put a burden on anybody else other than him, which is just like bonkers stupid. Not that
You
it's,
gotta tell somebody.
yeah, like why would you not tell somebody that? But regardless of all that, he's become unreliable, and they've realized this. They realize that it is not going to work, and I think he's only in for a couple more months before they finally move on. So I think they just went, look, we want to keep doing stuff with the nation. Ahmed's holding you back. Kick him out. I think it's weird that they kicked him out after he won. That's the confusing part to me, but
Yeah.
okay.
So there you have it. Ahmed is out. And the Godwins versus the Headbangers are in for 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Tell me, Joseph.
Godwin's win in a creative way when Mosh has the roll up, but the ref is distracted by Thrasher. So Henry O'Godwin hits a slop drop on him and Phineas wins. It gets a C.
Man, I couldn't even read my notes to see what was coming next. But luckily, it's just a match, because we've got Brian Pillman and Bob Holly in a match with Goldust and Marlena out to watch. Tell me, Joseph. Let me see. Let me check the time. Let me check the time again. It is 2 minutes, 24 seconds. And I'm going to quickly read my notes.
Yeah, you know
You're
what?
going to finish this one
2
fast.
minutes and 24 seconds. Goldust and Marlena come to ringside to watch Pillman in a woman's dress. Goldust distracts Pillman, who gets counted out, and because he loses, he must wear the dress again next week. Gets C from me.
That's me reading at lightning speed. I'm ready for our next. I'm data reading. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Now I know ancient Bajoran history or something. Anyways, this leads us to our main event, where we've got Owen Hart versus who? Joseph, who? Who is he wrestling for 8 minutes and 24 seconds? Because it was supposed to be Austin.
It's Dude Love, Austin's tag team partner. Brett joins on commentary, and Austin is watching this match backstage. It's a very fun match that sees Brett cheat and throw Dude Love into the ring post. Owen locks in the sharpshooter. Austin comes out. Slaughter tries to stop him from getting into a fight. When everyone's distracted, Austin hits Owen with one of his slammies, and Dude Love picks up the win. We close the show with Dude Love being smooched by babes. I loved this whole thing. It gets an A.
I thought it was a great way to handle it.
Yeah.
Dude Love, the tag team partner, Austin's closest thing to an ally, I guess, that he has. Righting the wrong that was Owen Hart breaking his neck. I also say I absolutely love how straight they are playing the Dude Love story. Like, they're not acknowledging that he's just the same guy in a tie-dye t-shirt, and the women are mobbing him, right?
Yeah.
They're just playing it like this is just completely like, of course. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I love that angle. Like, that there's just some really great humor in that we can see it, but they don't see it. There's just some great humor in that. Anyways, yeah, great match. A lot of great angles in the match with, Brett and again, Sergeant Slaughter tonight doing more to keep order than JJ Dillon has in months. I like Sergeant Slaughter here. What did you think about it all together? Who won? Is it Nitro? Is it Raw? Tell me. I know what you're gonna say, because you're a one-trick pony. But tell me who won.
Oh, wow.
It's WWF.
My God. Off the top rope with that one. Well, I'll have you know.
Hey.
I will have you know, sir, that while you were slandering and being quite disparaging of my talents, one Ron Old, not Ron E, Ron Old, messaged me privately and just said, "Hey, so far I'm really enjoying the podcast. Also, you do a really good Macho Man impersonation. That's one of my many facets on this show.
He has never once messaged me to tell me how much he likes the pod. So that is disgraceful. Anyways, I'm just hitting you back for after I thought I set up a really fair and impartial summation of Hulk Hogan, and then you were like, "I hate everything you said, and I hate you on a personal level." I'm just hitting you back, bro, tapping you back. So why don't you tell me who you think won tonight?
I think that WCW crushed it.
No, you don't.
No, they were horrible. WWF won.
I know you. I know you.
Well,
But
Scott, who
see,
do you think won tonight?
well, I will tell you, sir, because much like Shawn Michaels, I am fair, I
Uh-huh.
am unbiased, I am impartial, and I have to say it was WWF. It was just a better show, yeah. Yeah, it was. Even with the 3 hours and the
Yeah.
storylines, it's still just a lot of nonsense over
Yeah.
on WCW.
Yeah.
And again, they did some stories. They did what we asked. They did stories. They did some good stories, and they will do nothing more with them. And the Lex Luger Hollywood Hogan thing infuriates me. Like, how dare they on a night when I'm trying to be the better man and say some nice things about Hulk Hogan. How dare they prove your point?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
How dare Hogan die right at the moment that this match was gonna happen?
Yeah. Give you more fodder for hateomania and, whatever, man. I'm done. Thanks for listening, everybody.
So's Hogan. Anyways, bye guys.